Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Jumaatun Azmi, and I'm happy to be at this virtual Halal conference today. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Hani for inviting me to speak at this conference on Halal and congratulate him for this noble endeavor. He has asked me to speak of my personal experience in this area and to speak from my heart. So I will do that, inshallah. Um, basically, what I will talk about here for a short while is of my own personal experience of the past and present and what I hope to see for the future of the halal sector that we are all in. The opinions here are of my own, and some of you or all of you accomplished distinguished speakers and participants of this forum might disagree or agree with me, but I will go ahead and state them, and I will keep it short, inshallah. So this is the past experience. My company, KasehDia, is a values-based advisory company, and we specialize in developmental frameworks towards thriving societies. We have been a proponent on the need to communicate and apply Islamic and ethical values in a more universal, inclusive, and contemporary manner for different sets of audience and sectors. We have been a pioneer, alhamdulillah, in value-based communications and developmental systems, and we helped spark the paradigm shift on the term halal in 2003, where we first envisioned a halal space that covers different sectors. We also are the creator of the World Halal Forum, which we held initiatives in 23 countries since 2006, actually. There's a typo there, where we gathered participants from the industry, governmental, scientific, and consumer sectors around the concept of halal and ethical. My team and I were also the lead consultant to the government of Malaysia for the halal chapter in Malaysia's third industrial master plan that happened between 2006 and 2020. In 2008, we secured a mandate from the OIC, which in turn included the halal sector in its agenda for the first time in history. We also do other communication and media projects. I was also the co-founder of the International Halal Integrity Alliance, which worked with international organizations, industry players, and Sharia experts to create global halal standards in accordance with the ISO, IEC, and WTO TBT procedures. And we developed 8 standards with global participants. And that was a long time ago. And alhamdulillah, SPIC is leading this area. And I wish, and hope that whatever endeavors is done there can really benefit everybody in the halal industry, inshallah. Our other areas of interest is this is values-based content, integrative wellness, inclusive wealth, and social finance system. We're interested in environmental technology, regenerative agriculture, holistic education and development. And basically, we're trying to apply Islamic knowledge from the past and apply it to our modern world, which is not very easy. And then these are some of my publications. We actually started out with the publications at the top, where we did halal guides and food guides in different cities around the world. And this is when we first started getting and gathering data and understanding what was happening in the sector. And the Halal Journal on the left was a trade publication that we published for the business community. And it was circulated in 35 countries. And we also had Halal Journal TV and Halal Journal Radio. And on the bottom right, we did Muslim travel guides as well. and also guides for food operators, and directories for different audience in the market. So Alhamdulillah, it has been a very, very interesting journey for me. We had a lot of support, and from so many people, and I think it was just also an idea whose time has come, and it was successful, I think, inshallah, in terms of raising the awareness of the halal industry as a whole. So that was the past, and I want to share with you where I am in the present, and what my hope is for the future. So in my line of work, as you can imagine, I have met with a large number of people, and some inspired me, and I'm grateful to be able to work in this area alongside them. And some individuals and organizations, to be honest, was very frustrating and disappointing. But then again, that is the nature of this dunya, isn't it? So to me, it all boils down to the intention and sincerity, which in the end Allah alone knows. So I've actually taken a break from the halal platforms I've established, and I have been seeking the company of traditional Islamic scholars and people of conscience from various traditions and belief. And I seek, knowledge myself to understand, what is really the solution and what are the new alternatives that we can do. And that is what I am developing in Malaysia, proper alternatives that integrates to, the network we have now. But we want to slowly bring everybody to a new direction, which we believe is more in line with Islamic knowledge. So really what concerns me about the halal sector is the capitalistic nature of this industry. And if I had a part to do with it, which I think I have, I ask Allah to forgive me and my team, and I ask forgiveness from you as well. In my point of view, we shouldn't be introducing the halal ideal as a multi-billion or trillion-dollar industry that many organizations still do. And so many people and organizations talk about halal without the spirit of the Islamic faith that it comes from, without much grace, or any different from any other economic sector, except that the label is there. I also think we shouldn't allow it to be used only as a marketing tool for the Muslim consumer market, and especially if the corporations are producing highly processed, zero nutrition, sugar and chemical laden, low quality, high advertising budget food products. Because we need to see clearly that Muslims are in a terrible state. Apart from our other big problems, we are also obese, and we have the highest number of diabetes, high blood pressure, heart problems, and other lifestyle diseases in the world, and all while consuming supposedly halal food. And why are we perpetuating this? Most of the time, unfortunately, just because a food product is halal certified doesn't mean it's good for you. And we don't want to destroy the sacredness of this Islamic ideal. So 15 years ago, when we launched the Global Halal Development Framework with different platforms that targets different groups, I actually hoped that it would slow down the food production line, especially how we rear and sacrifice the animals that we eat. With the care and mercy and humanity that comes with applying the true and correct halal standard, the animals will be allowed to live according to their fitrah. They can walk and move, they can graze to see the sun, feel the breeze, and not to be mutilated, and to eat what each species is supposed to eat, as opposed to eating food that makes them fat very fast to make it profitable. So I would like to quote a Muslim scholar named Sheikh Musa Ferber. In one of his articles, he said that the majority of animals raised now by humans is via intensive animal farming, which is intensive factory industrial animal farming and concentrated animal feeding operation, or refer to a modern form of intensively raising animals. And this form of farming was designed with the sole purpose of efficient maximization of profits. And in many countries, it is supply driven, not demand. And he took this quote from the book by David Robinson Simon called Meatonomics: How the Rigged Economics of Meat and Dairy Make You Consume Too Much, and How to Eat Better, Live Longer, and Spend Smarter. And he says that these industry norms are a clear violations of the sacred law. And I'm thinking like maybe now with the pandemic, the aftermath of this COVID-19, maybe it will force the industry to slow down and do things right and proper. Generally speaking, because of the situation in the industry, we basically need to eat less meat and milk, which is going to be better for our bodies, but eat better meat and milk. And I also hoped before, when we started out, that it would have a positive effect on the environment and local communities. If we were to take an Islamic approach to agriculture, we wouldn't leave the soil barren and filled with toxic pesticides and chemical fertilizers after we plant and harvest a monocrop. We wouldn't pollute and choke our waterways with chemicals from our fashion industry. And we wouldn't waste like we do in our current use and throw and overconsumption culture. So I know these issues I've outlined is a global problem and not specific to the Muslims, but the Muslim societies are really behind and backward in awareness, education, and action in this situation. And surely the people of religion and of the supposed halal industry is supposed to have response and plan of action for this. So I'm asking, do we have a response and plan of action for this? A renowned Muslim thinker, Professor Naqib Al-Attaz, says that adab is knowing the proper place of things. So in that sense, my question is, what should be our priority and response be in the current state that we're in? What worldview and ecosystem, and who do we ultimately support in the current halal industry? And what kind of education do we need to give to Muslims on halalan and tayyiban consumption? Do we just tell them, just look for the halal logo and you'll be fine? We can't anymore, because what about nutrition? Like the focus on real food, like balanced meal, moderation, sharing and not wasting, the sunnah food and the way of eating. So we can't just follow the capitalistic consumerism and advertising culture and mechanism. We need to look at things not in silos anymore. Our understanding must be deeper and our knowledge broaden. We must get rid of toxicity and unethical practice in this sector because it's rampant. We must work with the sincere and true, even though this will be hard to tell. And I think we must communicate and engage effectively with our audience. In some situations, we don't even have to use the word halal, I think, because, we can have vegan labels, which is perfectly halal. That's just one particular example. And I think instead of focusing on calling everything halal and haram, maybe like Muslims need to start by, we need to live Islam properly, and it will flow from there. I also think we need to ally ourselves with people of conscience, people who do things ethically. They are small in numbers, but they're growing, especially now when more people are starting to be awakened in the days of the global corona pandemic. So these are my concerns and hope for the future. And I don't know if we can achieve it in our lifetime, but we need to work towards it even when we don't know how it will end. And at the end, maybe we can just plant the seeds of future generations to continue. I apologize if I've offended any of you. I know you have been truly dedicated and committed to your work. Um, I said earlier that I see a lot of familiar faces and speakers profile. I want to say hello and assalamualaikum to my friends here, especially. And I want to invite any of you who are working in line with some of the things I mentioned, and we have the same um, point of view about things. Please get in touch with me. My email is on the screen. I would love to know to be updated in what you're doing, and I can show you the project that I'm working on in terms of an integrative and alternatives to the current system that we have. And my email is juma@kasehdia.com. That's JUMA at KASEHDIA.com. Um, Again, I would like to thank you, Dr. Hani and Muhammad Noor, for thinking of me and inviting me here. And I pray that all of us can continue to do the good work that will benefit the people, the animals, and our earth, and ultimately to get the pleasure of Allah. Thank you. Wassalam.